Recently, I played through Undertale. I had watched this game 100 times prior, but this was my first time with the keyboard actually in my hands. I did this mostly because I wanted to put Beat Sans on my gamer resume, but I played through True Pacifist first because I figured it would help me get used to the controls and start developing muscle memory. Basically learning how to doggy paddle before I dove into the deep end. It was during this initial playthrough that one of my community members let me know that a secret opens up if you manage to beat the credits without getting hit by a single name. I wasn't too sure about it. It felt like it was probably going to be something that was above my skill level. Fast forward through the entire game and we end up at the credits. I decided to play it out, see how I feel about it, and though I hit many names, I thought, that doesn't actually seem that bad, which is code for, oh god, I'm gonna want to grind this, aren't I? And so, grind it I did. Before I show you my winning run, let's talk about how this whole thing works. First of all, there's an unnecessarily annoying amount of downtime between attempts. The most recent save point is after beating the final boss, so all you have to do is walk out of the underground and mash through a few text boxes. But after clearing Toriel's final text box, you then have to wait a grueling 4.5 minutes through the roll call before the challenge actually begins, where you can lose in the first 5 seconds and have to reset. But hey, it's just enough time to play a single song and a rhythm game between each attempt. After that inordinate amount of time, the actual playable part of the credits begins, which is separated into 6 phases. Phase 1 has the names spawn into one of the 4 corners of the screen in a set order. Each group will then lock onto your position and fire, but they are easily outrun by moving in a figure 8 pattern towards the most recently emptied corner. This is extremely consistent. Phase 2 has names fly out from the left and right sides of the screen with small gaps between them. Having a bias towards one edge of the screen and moving towards whichever side of names is closer to you is the key here, bearing in mind that once it's time to switch lanes, the corresponding vertical key needs to be pressed slightly longer than just the tap. This section also inadvertently highlights that the player's hitbox is actually smaller than the visual, so it's possible to slightly graze names without failing the challenge. Phase 3 will start rather quickly, so it's important to move back to the center once the phase 2 names stop spawning. This phase is a confidence check, requiring the player to keep their eyes a little ahead of where the hitbox actually is. Doing so will afford ample reaction time to not get caught off guard. Funnily enough, this is a somewhat similar feeling to the rhythm games I mentioned playing between attempts earlier. Bearing in mind during the back and forth segments at the end of the phase that it was perfectly designed around the hitbox's movement speed will help add to the player's confidence and make this phase easily replicable. Phase 4 is the most awkward looking. It's best to wait as long as possible to go through the horizontally scrolling names to minimize the amount of one's own horizontal adjustment necessary. The note from earlier about the hitbox being smaller than it appears will also help a lot with confidence in this section. Also in this phase is the mid-boss of the challenge, Gabriel. Despite being a member of the 5th set, his name is so long he will suddenly pop in while navigating the 4th set, so be prepared for it upon seeing Shay's name, possibly even choosing to avoid lanes near them entirely. Phase 5 is the most fear-inducing at first glance, but it's actually extremely consistent and easy. There are safe spots between the wheels that can be perfectly stayed in since the wheels have the exact same movement speed as the player. Transition diagonally into the other lane once space becomes sparse, ensuring to go deep enough to avoid the opposite lane's spokes, and this phase is literally free. Phase 6 is the final phase, and it's a reprise of the first, albeit a much more difficult one where the names spawn and move at a faster rate. Additionally, this is where we're introduced to the final boss of this challenge, Jeremy. Jeremy's name is so long that when combined with the speed increase, he completely counters the previous figure 8 strat. Instead, it's a phase much more reliant on actually reacting and changing up how you move, though I did find success in doing counterclockwise circles in the upper left and only dodging in the opposite direction upon seeing Jeremy's name. He's part of the last set as well, so everything following him is easily reactable. Those are all of my strats. Now let's see it all put together. That's a copyrighted song, so I have it like muted on VOD so that audio doesn't go to the VOD, but then what if I sing it too well and then I just fucking... You know, some ROM hacks on my VOD channel got copyright claimed because they have Cyber's World from Deltarune in them? Isn't that fucked up? And I disputed like 7 claims and they all got rejected. Just saying, just saying. Don't let that be in the fucking VOD of my winning attempt, please. Don't let me complaining about Deltarune copyright claims be in the VOD of my winning attempt, please. Career. Alright, time for the hardest segment, right at the end. Let's fuck up the hardest section. Oh! Incredible work! Easy clap! First try every time, easy peasy, pet the tail. Alright, I think this is it, so... let's go inside. I'm joking, I'm joking, I'm joking. This isn't even the right door. This is the door. It, like, the joke didn't even work. It's fine. Dog room. Dog residue. I do have like 40 things of dog residue in my inventory. Good bit. Okay, what happens if I fight the dog? Oh, I can't. Ah. Okay. Well, I guess that's everything then. A little anticlimactic, but I would expect nothing less from my reward for, for doing Hitless Credits. Very nice.